All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're going to dive deep into this completely fascinating exploration of how artificial intelligence isn't replacing human creativity at all. It's actually acting as this dynamic, brand new collaborator in our artistic process. We're unpacking exactly what it looks like when raw human imagination meets the absolute cutting edge of creative technology. We'll be looking at some incredible innovators, including folks inside Google's Creative Lab, and what they're discovering is literally shifting the entire paradigm of what it means to be a creator today. There's this huge misconception floating around right now that AI is just a magic push-button solution, right? Like, you just type a few words, hit enter, and out pops a masterpiece. But the reality totally shatters that myth. As we're going to see today, your foundational skills, your deep understanding of color, composition, rhythm, syntax, they're actually more crucial than ever. The humans who are squeezing the absolute most out of these AI models are the ones bringing their deep, pre-existing craft right to the table. Think about how things used to be. We've essentially shifted from asking, hey, which software did you use? Was that Photoshop, Cinema 4D? To asking, whoa, what was your prompt? But here's the real secret. Both of those questions actually miss the magic. Just having someone's prompt doesn't mean you can replicate their vision, because the prompt is just the vocabulary of their unique creative mind. It absolutely proves that human imagination and the years you've spent honing your unique creative voice is still the absolute center of the whole shebang. So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with prompting with foundational craft, move into vibe coding custom tools, explore deepening the musical process, step into infinite worlds, and finish up with preserving taste and craft. Let's get into it. First up, prompting with foundational craft. Let's look at Sanchit. He's a graphic designer who realized something amazing. His traditional analog design school training gave him the ultimate vocabulary for steering AI. In design school, he wasn't taught specific software menus. He was taught drawing, typography, and color theory. And it turns out that analog training is basically a cheat code for the AI era. He isn't just typing, make a cool 3D chair. No way. He's specifying elegant nouveau typography because he knows exactly what that design movement feels like. He dictates exact hex codes for perfect color matching. He asks for a 300mm lens to control the actual physics of the virtual camera and minimize distortion. And he dictates an off-center rule of thirds. This isn't just rolling the dice, this is a master craftsman using heavy technical vocabulary to direct a highly capable machine. This brings us to a super important point. High-level AI art is almost never one-shotted. It's an incredibly iterative process. Sanchit actually starts way back with a humble pencil sketch on physical paper. Then he uses image models to generate some base renderings. From there, he spends hours tweaking parameters, shifting lighting, swapping backgrounds. And during that back and forth, happy accidents happen. Like suddenly a random polar bear or a couple of cats show up in the background of a sleek furniture render, and he's like, actually, I love that, I'm keeping it. It's a really active, exploratory dialogue. Moving right along to Section 2, Vibe Coding Custom Tools. Okay, this is where things get really wild. Creators like Ke and Kiati are completely changing how we build software through this practice called vibe coding. Basically, vibe coding means describing what you want in plain, everyday English and letting a large language model handle all the complex, tedious syntax of writing the actual code. It allows artists who don't necessarily know Python or JavaScript to invent their own bespoke digital tools instantly. They're just acting on pure creative impulse, asking, man, what if I had a tool that did exactly this? And then just generating it on the fly. Just to give you an idea of how this builds a chain of wildly creative micro-tools, Kiati used vibe coding to build this app called Machine Telephone. It links together various Google APIs to playfully mistranslate an idea across totally different mediums. Check this out. You start by typing a random word like marine diatom. The AI takes that and writes a poem. Then it searches for a map location inspired by that exact poem. Next, it generates a song based on that map location. And finally, it extracts a visual color palette from the vibe of that song. It is literally a digital game of telephone crossing through text, geography, audio, and visual design. How cool is that? And the experiments just keep getting wilder. Whether you're building a custom ASCII film studio where the AI writes the script, the music, and the visual code all at once, or an app like Super Looper, which was built for the sole purpose of spamming blur and sharpen effects over and over just to see what weird glitches pop out, Ko even used vibe coding to prototype complex dithering algorithms for an experimental digital Polaroid camera, all while sitting right in his messy kitchen. Vibe coding turns rigid software engineering into an improvisational jam session. Okay, let's shift gears to section 3, deepening the musical process. In the realm of music, AI is really serving as this hyper-personalized instrument. Take Kendall, for example. She works in community building and hosts retreats, and she needed something incredibly specific for a meditation session. She used this exact prompt: build a 5-song playlist that evokes serenity and stillness and feels rich, moving, grounding, and neo-soul. She then took the results and combined them with custom atmospheric, shimmering spatial filters that she built herself. She wasn't just searching for a generic backing track, she was handcrafting a highly specific, emotionally resonant sonic environment tailored perfectly for her people. Then you have Henry, and his approach was completely different but equally fascinating. He's a professional percussionist who actually drums for the 49ers drum line. He just wanted a track to practice his triplet rolls to. Simple enough, right? He started generic, synthwave, 160 BPM. But the result was way too dramatic, like an 80s action movie, totally distracting for focused practice. He tried breakcore, but the groove completely clashed with his exercise. Finally, he realized generic genres just wouldn't cut it. He had to drill down and dictate a specific synth sound, the exact rhythmic pattern, and even the physical material of the virtual snare drum. That's what it took to finally get the perfect, bespoke practice track for his technical needs. And Henry absolutely didn't stop there. By combining AI with granular synthesis, artists are now pulling tiny, tiny fragments of audio, like, say, chopping up a track of pitched-up AI-generated gospel choir vocals, and turning those microsamples into entirely new, highly expressive software instruments. You aren't just sitting back letting the AI play a song for you. You are breaking the AI's output down to a molecular level and playing it yourself on a keyboard. Which naturally brings us to a pivotal question. It's the question every single innovator asks when they start pushing the boundaries of what these creative models can actually do. When you realize the tools can generate images, write code, and compose music, the hungry, novelty-seeking human mind inevitably asks, okay, what else? How far can we push this thing? Which leads us perfectly into section 4, stepping into infinite worlds. Prepare to have your mind absolutely blown. Let's look at Shash and Sam's work with Project Genie. By feeding casual, everyday photos into their model, they discovered that almost any image instantly becomes a fully rigged, playable character in an interactive physics engine. Think about that. Every single photo on your phone is basically a video game cartridge now. They took a photo of a pipe cleaner worm sitting next to some physical marbles, and the AI knew exactly how to make that worm slither and bump into those real marbles without any complex 3D rigging at all. They took photos from the floor of an apartment, and suddenly they were navigating that familiar space from the POV of a cat, jumping over furniture or scaling the walls as a gecko to find new vantage points. You can really see how massive this scale gets when they combine this technology with Google Street View data to create GeoGenie. You can literally scan a Street View image of the Golden Gate Bridge, lock in a character, like, say, a spaceship, and instantly fly around that real-world environment. Or pick El Capitan and soar over the sheer cliff face as a bald eagle. Or take a photo of a heavy concrete sphere sitting outside your office and just roll it around the campus grounds. It is seamlessly transporting your imagination straight into the real world. Finally, we arrive at section 5, preserving taste and craft. Look, with all this infinite power, speed, and abundance, where code basically writes itself and standard photos turn into interactive universes, we definitely reach a crucial philosophical crossroads. As Ko brilliantly put it, just because we can generate infinite variations instantly doesn't mean we should abandon our standards. Making things just for the sake of feeling productive can really quickly lead to what he calls slop. Meticulous craft, deep technical fundamentals, and unapologetic personal taste, that is what separates meaningful, lasting art from automated noise. The tools have absolutely evolved, but our human responsibility to care deeply about the final output, that hasn't changed one bit. So, as you look at your own creative practice and you consider these incredibly powerful, moldable tools that are now sitting right at your fingertips, you really have to ask yourself a big question. In a time where worlds can literally be infinite, what deeply personal, carefully crafted worlds will you choose to bring to life? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep iterating, keep trusting your incredible taste, and I will see you in the next one.